The Great British Bake Off is a BAFTA award-winning British television baking competition first shown by the BBC on August 17, 2010. The judges are cookery writer Mary Berry and professional baker Paul Hollywood. Mel Giedroyc and Sue Perkins have presented all 4 series of the programme. The competition selects from amongst its competitors the best amateur baker. Having gained increasing popularity since the first series, it is credited with reinvigorating interest in baking throughout the UK, and many of its participants, including winners, have gone on to start a career based on bakery. The series now appears in 3 versions: the main Bake Off series, a celebrity charity series in aid of sport relief or comic relief, and Junior Bake Off, for young children. In April 2013, a spin-off format was also launched on BBC Two, The Great British Sewing Bee. In 2014, The Great British Bake Off will move to BBC One after achieving record ratings on BBC Two. Spin-off show An Extra Slice will air on BBC Two. Format: this series choose from the contestants a best amateur baker. The applicants to the show are assessed by a researcher, followed by an audition in London with 2 of their bakes and undergoing a screen test and an interview with a producer. A second audition involves the applicants baking 2 recipes for judges Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood in front of the cameras. 10 contestants were chosen for the first series, 12 for the following 2 series and 13 for the 4th. In each episode, the amateur bakers are given 3 challenges: a signature bake, a technical challenge, and a showstopper. The 3 challenges take place over 2 days, and the filming takes up to 16 hours a day. The contestants are assessed by the judges, who then choose a star baker for the week, and a contestant is also eliminated. In the final, 3 bakers are left and a winner is chosen from the 3. Signature challenge: a bake using a tried and tested recipe that the amateur bakers make for their family and friends. Technical challenge: a bake using the same ingredients and recipe provided by the judges Berry and Hollywood. The recipe, however, has missing instructions and is designed to test the knowledge and skill of the bakers. The bakers are not told beforehand what the challenge might be, and the judges do not observe the baker at work and judge the result blind. Showstopper challenge: a bake designed to impress the judges. In the first series, the location of the cast and crew move them from town to town each week, but starting from the second series, the competition is held in one location in a specially constructed marquee. Interspersed in the program are the background of the contestants as well as video vignettes on the history of baking, visiting local baking landmarks such as Bakewell, and discovering why people bake what they do today. Another part of the backstory section of each contestant is an animated graphic illustration of what each baker intends to bake during the challenge. These iconic graphics have been created by illustrator Tom Hovey since the show's inception in 2010. Series overview: color key, AAA a male contestant, AAA a female contestant. Series 1. Series 1 of the Great British Bake Off saw 10 home bakers take part in a bake-off to test their baking skills as they battled to be crowned the Great British Bake Off's best amateur baker. Each week the nationwide tour saw the bakers put through 3 challenges in a particular discipline. The rounds took place in various locations across the UK, with the final being held at Fulham Palace, London. The 3 finalists were Ruth Clemens, Miranda Gore-Brown and Edd Kimber. On September 21, 2010, Edd Kimber was crowned the best amateur baker. Series 2. This year the number of amateur baker contestants increased to 12. Unlike Series 1, this year the Great British Bake Off stayed in one location, a Valentine's Mansion, a 17th-century mansion house in Redbridge, London. This year all the finalists were female, a Holly Bell, Mary Ann Bermans, and the winning contestant Joanne Wheatley. Series 3. A third series of the Great British Bake Off began on August 14, 2012. The series was filmed at Harpdree Court in East Harpdree, Somerset. For the first time, there was an all-male final. The finalists were Brendan Lynch, James Morton and John Whaite, and the final was won by John Whaite in a surprise result. Series 4. The 4th series of the Great British Bake Off started on August 20, 2013 on BBC Two. The series was again filmed at Harptree Court in East Harptree, Somerset. The all-female final was won by Frances Quinn. Series 5. The fifth series of The Great British Bake Off will begin airing on August 6, 2014 at 8 p.m. on BBC One. There will be 12 bakers taking part. Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood will return as judges, whilst Sue Perkins and Mel Giedroyc will return to present the series. Comedian Jo Brand is also set to host the BBC Two spin-off show The Great British Bake Off, An Extra Slice, beginning on August 8. An Extra Slice. Reception. Critical reception. The early reviews for the first series were mixed. Lucy Mangan of The Guardian wondered if competitive baking a contradiction in terms, and found the proceedings humorless. Ian Hollingshead of The Daily Telegraph was scathing, describing the presenters as annoying, the judge Paul Hollywood as looking sinister without being interesting, and that the audience would be so bored that they could certainly forgive the cameraman if he were to commit harakiri in a giant pool of egg and flour. However, reviews from the later series were more positive. Andrew Collins of The Guardian called it the nicest show on television, and judged it the best TV programme of 2012. Rachel Ward of The Daily Telegraph thought the programme had just the right consistency of mouth-watering morsels, good humour, and fascinating history, while Tom Sutcliffe The Independent considered the contest perfectly baked. Awards and nominations. The Great British Bake Off has been nominated for a Rose d'Or in the Lifestyle section of the 2012 competition. It won the BAFTA award in the Features category in 2012 and 2013. It was also nominated for the Radio Times Audience Award in 2013 and 2014. Cultural impact. The show is credited with spurring an interest in home baking, with supermarkets and department stores reporting sharp rises in sales of baking ingredients and accessories. It was also credited with reviving the Women's Institute, whose membership reached its highest level since the 1970s. The show also boosted the sales of bakery books and the number of baking clubs, and independent bakeries also showed an increase in number. According to analysts, more than 3/5 of adults have baked at home at least once in 2013 compared with only a third in 2011. TV ratings. The first series of The Great British Bake Off premiered in August 2010 with a moderate ratings of just over 2 million viewers for its first episode. This was enough to place it in BBC Two's top 10 for that week, and over the series the audience grew to over 3 million, with the semi-final and final both achieving first place in BBC Two's weekly ratings. During the second series, the ratings gradually increased, and it became a surprise hit with nearly 4 million watching each episode. Week 2 was the last time that the show was outrated by another BBC Two programme in the same week. From then until the show's move to BBC One, every competition episode would be the channel's #1 rated programme of the week. By its final episode it had averaged 4.56 million viewers, peaking at 5.1 million in its last 15 minutes. The ratings continued to strengthen in the third series, and the show began to beat its competition in its time slot. The final of the series, where John Whaite was crowned the winner, saw its highest rating yet, with an average of 6.5 million viewers that peaked at 7.2 million, which made it the second highest rated BBC Two originated show after Top Gear since at least 2006. The fourth series achieved some of the highest ratings seen on BBC Two. The viewer number for its premiere episode was more than 2 million higher than that of the previous season, while the final episode was seen by 9.1 million viewers at its peak, more than twice the number of viewers on BBC One and ITV. The final episode is the most watched show on BBC Two since the present rating system was introduced in 2002, beating the previous record set by Top Gear. As a result of its high ratings, the show was moved to BBC One. Controversy, product placement sanction. In September 2012, production company Love Productions was sanctioned by the BBC for product placement of Smeg fridges. The issue came to light after a viewer wrote to the Radio Times complaining of blatant product promotion. After an investigation, the BBC said Love Productions' loan agreement with Smeg did not meet editorial guidelines and was being revised for the third series, and that appropriate retrospective higher payments would be made. the BBC asked SMEG to remove a notice from its website promoting its association with the show, which it has since done. Favoritism. During the fourth series, there were accusations of favoritism towards female contestants after The Last Man Glenn Cosby was eliminated from the show. However, similar claims were not made the previous year over the all-male final. The fourth series also suffered allegations of Paul Hollywood's favoritism towards Ruby Tandoh, and personal attacks on Tandoh by various people including the chef Raymond Blanc. Both Paul Hollywood and Ruby Tandoh denied the accusation. International versions. Current and upcoming versions include, The Great Sport Comic Relief Bake Off, episode viewing figures from Barb. Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, transmissions, regular series, specials, see also, Junior Bake Off, references. External links, official website, The Great British Bake Off at BBC Programmes, The Great British Wedding Cake at BBC Programmes, The Great Sport Relief Bake Off at BBC Programmes, The Great Comic Relief Bake Off at BBC Programmes, The Great British Bake Off at gameshows.com, The Great British Bake Off at the Internet Movie Database, The Great Sport Relief Bake Off at the Internet Movie Database.